All right, good morning. Today is March the 3rd of 2022, and it is warm, and I'm excited. The days are going to start getting longer, and I know we'll have a couple more cold snaps, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take it versus last year, and this is a time of year where gosh, it's just nice to be able to get out and play and have fun and see people and protect people. And I think the COVID is ramping down some, so we have opportunity. I've never seen another time where we have as much opportunity. I'm very serious in my whole career here at Security National since 2016. People are aware. People are somewhat scared, if you will. But people more than that, they understand right now that there is things that go on, and they understand that they might not pass away from an accident. And they understand that they need coverage, and they understand that they need to protect their families. Okay, so welcome today. If you're brand new, that is me. I am a live person down here in Georgetown, Texas. Some of you have been down here. It's my training area in Georgetown, but I would suggest we're going to have one probably towards the end of March, maybe in a couple of weeks, if not the 1st of April, another live training down here. Suggest you join it. Come here, bring your spouse, bring your significant other. It's a beautiful square. I'll feed you. We'll have a good time. You can stay the night before and enjoy the town or the night after. Have lots to do on the square, lots of places to eat and shop and drink or whatever you want to do. And it's a beautiful town down here. Just filmed a movie down here, a show, and there'll be more to come. So I've been in the business for 22 years, and now with Security National Life since 2016 in final expense, and I love protecting people. So y'all have probably heard a lot about some of my spills and my beliefs and my mottos and things. So I won't bore you today with those. I'm just going to get down to the nitty gritty today and talk about one thing, and then I'll let y'all off here a little short today. But um, since the COVID came around, we've been selling. Before the COVID, we had to print off applications and pretty much go in the field and see people. That's the way we did business. See people, touch them, talk to them, make sure they're walkers or oxygen or whatever it may be, and be there in the field with them. And that was the way that we did our business. So, and it's still there. So just know you can still write a paper application just like this on a paper app, and you can still send it into the company. When you send that paper application into the company, you're going to go right here to the upload section in the top left. Before I get going anymore, would somebody chat if you can and make sure you can hear me okay? Okay. Can y'all hear me? Okay. All right. So I've got one yes. So hopefully that comes back good now. Okay, perfect. Since then, now we have the upload button right here. So I want just to tell you also, if you write a paper application and you want to send it to the company, you have two options up here on the left, where I'm pointing up here in the upload button. You can either go in and you can scan it into your system and send it to the company. Or if you see this website up here and you have it on your phone, you can clearly go in there and upload it right there, take a picture of it, send it straight to the company. And when you send it straight to the company, it will get uploaded right then and there automatically. Okay, so a couple of ways to do business there with the paper application. Again, scan it, number one, and upload it. Again, so that if you're taking notes here on this how to sell upload it, or take a picture of it with your phone and upload it, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so that's the old way. So not the old way, it just is a way. We still do it that way, okay, on paper applications. So if you need help getting applications, if you don't have enough applications, let's order you some. You can clearly go over here to your agent portal, go into order supplies. It's all free to you. It's all free. And for those of y'all that don't know, we have our applications also in Spanish. So you have a choice of English or Spanish. So you have both of those. No matter what your client, if you have Spanish applications, you can do one, and it obviously looks just like this, and you have a Spanish application. Okay, so that's good news. That's good news there. So you also, okay. So we have it in English and or Spanish. All right, so sending those in. Now we have the option to sell the policy over the phone. So that's what I want to talk about today. So I want to talk about selling a policy over the phone, just like this right here. If I can pull it up. You know, lots of times, some people these days, if given the option, want to talk over the phone. You know, maybe they're still a little bit scared about COVID. Maybe they're still 10 miles away, 30 miles away, 90 miles away, 100 miles away, a state away. You're welcome to get appointed and licensed in other states to sell policies for us. But just know now, you don't have to be in front of the person to write the application if you do it the way I'm showing you to. So I want you to know, I think everybody knows this, but I just want to rehash. I hope nobody's sitting there going, oh my gosh, well, I can't go see grandma, or I can't go see someone, or I can't get to them, or I don't have, or they told me not to come over. I hope that doesn't squash the bug, because it's okay to call people. It's okay to write policies over the phone. It's totally legal with us, and I want to show you how, just so you remember. It's a very easy process, okay? So if I want to sell a policy over the phone, I'll gather my supplies. I'll go straight over here to this page on my agent portal, and I'll hit telesales, okay? And I'll hit telesales. So here's what this looks like. Now, I'm going to slow down and say this real quick. Even if you're with the person and you're sitting across the desk for them, or at the table at their house, or wherever, even if you're doing that, you're still welcome to use this, what we call telesales application. It's basically a web application, if you will. So you're still welcome to use this, even if you're with the person in front of them. So if you feel more comfortable typing on your keyboard, then by all means try this, you know, because you don't have the paper application. But if you like the paper application, you can use that too. The only difference is this: when you're using the web app or the telesales app right here, you will have to make a three-way call, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this application. So you will have to make a three-way call at the end of this application, okay? So make sure when you're talking about that and you're looking at this, that you know, and your client knows, you will need to make a call at the very end. But it's not a big deal. It's actually a good thing. It's a verification, okay? So I'm just going to go through here, and if I can get a volunteer, that would be good. So if I can get somebody to unmute themselves, I would love it. And so go ahead and unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and then we will go forward. I don't have any volunteers. I know somebody wants to volunteer for me. Please, 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 please. All right, I got a bunch of shy people this morning.
I'll volunteer.
Manuel, how are you?
It's fine, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So Manuel, just hang tight for 2 seconds. But basically, what we would do in this point, I would just put Manuel right here.
Okay.
And for sakes of purpose of Manuel's privacy, I'm going to misspell some things here just because. But I would say, Manuel, I'm just going to go over a few things here. Is that okay with you?
That'd be fine.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna enter this stuff in the computer, and then as I go through here, and I'm gonna kind of show you how quickly I could probably do this with manual and how I would do it. Okay. So I
Okay.
would ask manual, hey, what's your social security number, manual? And I would go through here. I would ask manual your of course, your gender. I would ask, manual, hey, how tall are you, manual?
5'8".
5'8". Okay. Am I ask your weight?
Yes, sir. It's 220.
Okay, 220. Okay, so always be aware, though. I want you to know, be aware at this point in time. Remember when you're doing this, in my training website, underneath the tools, you have a height and weight chart. Manual is nowhere near the
You there?
weight guidelines, okay? So they have to be under at least at 5'8", he would have to be under 280 to write this. If he's over 280, remember, and he's 5'8", 5'8" over 280, then we have to go over here to the security care plan, which has to be written on paper, okay? So it's very important. And then also you can write 5'8" up to 355. I just don't want you to get caught into a situation where you get into this web app, over the phone with someone, and they're like, well, I'm 320 pounds. And then you have to do and say, well, I can't write you online here. I'm going to have to come see you, or we're going to have to cancel the deal.
So
always.
I'm sorry. So where do you go to get that on the tele app?
So where do you go to start the tele app?
No. Where do you get the height and weight?
So it's not. So if you look up here at the top right now, can you see my training website, finalexpenselife.us? Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
So if I want everybody to write that down or remember that, I would love for you to actually put it into your phone and save it on your phone and save it to your home screen. If you look also at the top of my Final Expense Life and you watch this little video right here, it will show you clearly how to put something on your iPhone or your Android, how to add this onto a tab.
You're cutting up real bad. I can't understand you. I can't hear you.
Website in your web browser.
Okay. So basically, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So basically, if you got time, go in here and look at this little video on your own, and it will show you, if you have an Android or an iPhone, how to add this website, and you would want to add the portal and this website to your phone, to where you can just do one click away. Okay. If you need, any of y'all need help on a one-off situation, call me and I'll walk you through it. But basically, in this tools section, manual, that's where you find this rate book and underwriting and height and weight chart. So when you click this in right here, do you see that when I'm pointing at?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You get that right there, you'll see this. Okay. So just make sure they fall in this guideline before you start the web app. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And the reason is because, watch this. If I go in here and I put 420 and I'm looking at $15,000 worth of coverage, what's it going to do for me? It's going to see that height and weight, and it's going to create a height and weight error. Okay. Yep. So then that's going to go to reason height and weight. So I'll make sure that I've got all my stuff right, and then it's going to make me do all this again. Yeah, so we're good right here. So I want to make sure that I get my height and weight chart, height and weight tracking. So we've got it. So that's it. So I've checked my box here. This is me. We're checking the state, and the state is the state that the client is in. Okay, that's the state that the client is in. That is manual's information. So this is not my information. This is manual's information. Blah blah blah. I just filled this in for purposes of the demonstration. So I'm gonna hit continue here, and it's gonna ask me. Okay, I didn't select gender. There we go. So simple security plan. All right. I'm going to show you. I'm going to pretend Manuel is my client, and Manuel, just pretend that you're paying for your own policy. Okay.
Okay.
So, Manuel, are you at 123 Main Street still?
I am.
Great. All right. And you're in Austin, Texas. Great.
Yes.
Okay. And your birth state, where were you born?
Texas.
Texas. Okay. Perfect. And this is where I would, at this point in time, I would ask Manuel, obviously I have his phone number. I'll have it on file. I'm talking to him. And I will ask Manuel, hey, Manuel, do you have an email address in case the company gets a hold of you? And if you don't, that's okay. So a lot of times our clients don't have them. So you can put none, like a none, like I don't have one at none.com. I think they changed it where it's not required at all anyways. Okay. Now, Manuel is the insured. If Manuel is paying for his own policy and he's going to own his policy, which a lot of people do, then all I would do is toggle this back over here and it fills it out for me. So don't worry about refilling the information. It just duplicates it over, which is wonderful. Now, if someone else wanted to own his zip policy, like the daughter or the mother or the spouse or whatever, then you would need to enter information in different there. But other than that, just toggle it over to insurers. And Manuel, you're paying for your own policy, right?
That's correct.
Now, if they're not, this is where you would change it. I could pay for Manuel's policy if I want. So you may run across some situations in a bill where maybe mother's paying for it, or it's coming out of the wife's checkbook or the spouse's checkbook. So be sure you're aware of that. But you can just toggle it over and it fills it out for you. Manuel, when you pass away, who's your beneficiary?
Going to be my wife.
Okay. So his wife's name is such and such and such and such and such address. Okay. And we're going to fill that out. Perfect. And there's such and such phone number here. Okay. So that's going to go there. And then there's such and such email. Okay. none@none.com. Relationship is going to be a spouse. And right there, primary. And that's where you would also, if you continue. Need to go to the contingent. Okay. So we're going to go primary. So, and we're going to save it and it's going to fill it all out. So Manuel, I have a couple of questions for you here. I'm going to try to take it pretty quick. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Answer these questions. All right. So in the last 12 months, have you used tobacco or nicotine?
No, sir.
Okay. And then I'm not telling any agent on the line what to do or what not to do. I mean, by the laws of Security National, you have to read these questions out verbatim. Okay. That's just the laws verbatim. But I'm just going to say this is how I would ask the questions. So I'm just saying on a non-recorded line, but we do need to ask these questions and make sure the client does understand what we're asking. Okay. So Manuel, in the last 30 days, if you look right here, okay.
Yes, sir.
In the last 30 days, have you been in the hospital overnight?
No.
And have you been diagnosed to being terminally ill?
No.
In the last 30 days, so y'all watch this right here. This is a key, and I'm just trying to show you the summaries of these. Have you had a seizure in the last 30 days?
No.
Do you need any assistance with dressing, eating, or hygiene? Now, this is a tough question because maybe some seniors have their kids come over and give them a meal or help them out in the yard or whatever. But this is constant, what you call daily activities of life. I mean, if they can't dress themselves and they can't feed themselves, if they can't use the toilet or the bathroom on their own, and if they can't transfer, if they can't get in bed by themselves, then it's going to be a decline. Now, there are one-off situations where some people need help. Okay, so let's take this case by case basis. Okay.
No.
Hey, so this is our cancer question, Manuel. In the last 90 days, have you been diagnosed with cancer?
No.
The next question is, have you been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, dementia, sickle cell anemia, hepatitis C, cirrhosis of the liver, cystic fibrosis, brain aneurysm, or have you had an organ transplant?
No.
Are you taking dialysis?
No.
Okay, and then you ask the HIV question, okay? So as long as those are all red, you see how we have to toggle them over. We're great to go. Section 2, the only thing I'm going to ask here is, Manuel, are you a diabetic?
No.
And if they say yes, so go ahead and say yes.
Yes.
Do you take insulin? Say yes.
Yes.
How many units do you take per day? Say 60.
60.
Okay. This is the only time that you would use this right here. Okay. 60. And then that would put him into, if you look on the regular application, that would put him and throws him into the actual standard plan, which is standard program. Okay. So that's what we would look for here. That's the only time you're going to look for that in these sections is the insulin. So if he's not taking insulin or he's not diabetic, we're good. Now, section 3, and on this one, Manuel, I'm just going to ask you some questions and you need to answer it for basically, here's the thing about it is, I want everybody to know, if I look at this question and watch this really closely, this is where a lot of agents mess up. I'm just telling you. So the question asks this: within the past 2 years, has the proposed insured been diagnosed, tested positive for, treated, prescribed medication, or been given medical advice by a licensed member of the medical profession for any of the following reasons? So let's read this question slowly again. Within the past 2 years, has the proposed insured been prescribed medication? So let me give you an example. Let's say that Manuel had a stent put in right here, and it was 7 years ago. Well, that falls outside of our 2-year realm, what we're looking at here. But he is still taking medication for it, okay? So we need to ask those questions, clearly there. So just know that this is how those questions are read. In the past, do you have anything wrong with your heart? Any stents, bypasses, or anything?
No.
And this right here, here's our cancer question. So if you remember, okay, on our cancer questions on the medication guide, this is the way it goes. So just a refresher for those that know, and a new thing for people that don't. Right here, if you look at this cancer question right here, if you currently have cancer, it's a decline. If you've been cancer-free for 90 days, it goes modified. And cancer-free for 2 years, we can actually go back preferred. Okay. When you look at this question here, it's asking you remember up here, you said you don't have cancer, right?
Right.
You said right here, you do not have cancer up here. Okay. Now we're asking you if you did have cancer, how long has it been since you've been cancer free? So we're looking for this. If they've been cancer free, heart failure, anything with your heart again?
No.
Anything wrong with your lungs? Emphysema, COPD, anything?
No.
What about your kidneys, renal failure, liver diseases, or anything?
No.
And you say not diabetic. Now, what we find here is that when you remember up here, we're looking at insulin under 100 units a day. If we have people taking over right here, we're going to be yes. So that's what we're looking for. Or be aware of this, insulin under the use prior to age. So if you've got somebody that's 45 years old and they take insulin, but they take it a little bit, you need to ask them, hey, have you been diabetic prior to the age of 40? Just so those read. Go ahead.
I got a question for you. What if they're diabetic, but they're on metformin?
Perfectly fine. All pills will go preferred.
Okay.
All pills are preferred. And there's actually also the new drug out there called Trulicity, which is a once a week kind of injection that will go preferred too also. So
I got you.
No problem. And also high blood pressure medicines and cholesterol medicines, thyroid medicines, you're never going to see a question here ask about that. So that can all go preferred. Okay. Parkinson's disease, you can read them, paranoia, schizophrenia. Now on this one right here, it's a little bit, we're looking for major depressive disorders. If they're ADHD or they've got minor depression, and the way you're going to see that is if you look over here again in your medications, and I hope I can find one that kind of talks about it. Let me thumb through real quick and show you. Depression. So here's one, amitriptyline. That's for depression, but it's for minor depression, so it would go preferred. Okay, so it would go preferred. You got some other ones down here that may be major depression that are going to go over to the modified section. So that's really what we're looking for here is the major stuff. Have you been advised to have a surgery that you haven't had yet? And right here, have you been treated in a facility within the last 2 years for drugs or alcohol? We don't ask any criminal questions on our app, so you don't have to worry about that. As long as they're not in the pen, we're good. And then right here, we actually are one of the few companies that will write people with oxygen on a modified. So if you got somebody on oxygen, we can write them on a modified plan. So we're one of the few that can do that, which is a good thing. So that's no. So you're good. Manuel, what drugs do you take? I mean, what medications do you take? And, you know, maybe he says this. Maybe, hey, I take high blood pressure pills. So I'm going to go amlodipine. Okay, amlodipine right here. How long have you been taking it? 3 years. What's the reason? High blood pressure. I want everybody on the line to know that it's very important to get this part correct, because when the company pulls the medication list here in a minute, they're going to see this, and then they're going to want you to explain, hey, why do I see medications that I'm pulling up on the prescription report, and why did you not put any medications down? It looks like we're trying to hide something. So try to be very transparent. Now, the company has some wiggle room there. If you miss a drug or two and it's not a big deal, they're okay. But try to put every single one of them you can down there, okay? Dosage, 10 milligrams, whatever it may be. How many times a day, 2 times or 1 time? All right, we're going to save it. It's a very important part, okay, on that one. All right, so primary physician, you do not have to have one, okay? Now, if they want to volunteer their information for you and you say, hey, who's your primary physician? They want to write it down, that's perfectly fine. The only time we would ever use this is if there is somebody passes away in the first 2 years, we are obligated to check their medical background to make sure they didn't have a pre-existing condition. After 2 years, there is no medical background. I mean, there's no option for the company to check that background. And that's standard with every life insurance company. But you don't have to have that if you don't want to. Now, how do you want to pay for it? You know, this is a very important part. This is one of the most important parts. How are we going to pay for it, number one? And how, number two, Mr. Jones, Manuel, where's the money coming from? Show me the
bank
money.
Draft. Bank draft.
Bank draft. Okay. You can use credit card. You can use debit card. I would highly suggest not to, just because those things get compromised. So always try to bank draft. Again, if you don't know this, like you probably do, if you're trying to find routing numbers, you can find all of those things online. But account numbers, you're just going to have to dig around and help them out. Maybe they need to go to the bank and get it, okay? So you're just going to put the name of the bank here and the bank address, 333 Main, whatever it may be. And then you're going to checking account number, okay? And then routing number. It will require that you put in a correct death rider. So if I've got a $15,000 policy, I can do $15,000 also right here. Now, let me give you a word of advice. There are companies out there that sell their policies to people, whether it's, it's legit or right or fair or honest, and they will tell, hey, Manuel, we're going to write this policy up for $30,000, okay? If you die in an accident, you get $30,000. If you die of a natural cause, you get 15. And that is the truth. That is the truth. If you put this rider on there, it's a little misleading, because what they're trying to do is keep you from coming in and replacing the policy. They're trying to protect the policy. and the client somewhat in their mind thinks they have $30,000 worth of coverage, but really they have 15, and they're only going to get paid 30 as if they die in an accident. Okay. But however you want to sell it, it's actually only about $2 or $3 a month more to put this rider on there. So if you like that and you're that kind of person that wants to sell that, go ahead, feel free to do it. And it makes the sale a little bit, a little bit better sounding. I got 30,000 instead of 15 if you die in an accident. Other than that, it's going to be natural causes is 15. Child rider, you can add children in here up to $10,000. You would just need to add their name and if they've got a medical condition or whatever they have. You can add kids. If you're taking notes, you can add kids up to the age of 18. Up to the age of 18. Once they hit 25, they fall off the policy. Okay, they fall off the policy. Billing is this is a very important part. We have an option with our policies to basically, we're one of the few companies that does true Social Security billing. So basically what you're looking at is if you click yes right here, we're going to bill these people on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday of the month. And that's typically when they get their money, on a second, third, or fourth Wednesday. So always try to set them up on the day that they get their money. If not, that money might be gone, if you know what I mean. Okay, so second, third, or fourth Wednesday of the month on that. If they just want a certain day that they want to, to pay their bill, then you're going to go in here and put, okay, what day do you want to draft the payment? Now, be also careful here. We can do draft upon approval, or we can do not draft upon approval. The difference is that today is the 3rd of March. If we did yes, draft upon approval for manual, it would go through, we would draft it, and then basically what would happen is they would not draft another payment until April the 17th. So be careful when you're doing this. It looks a little different here because if you read it like this, it's going to say, yeah, draft upon approval. And then it's like, oh, crud, they're going to draft another payment on March the 17th. And that's not true. Okay. It's just that when you toggle this back and forth, that doesn't change. It should change. Okay. If I do draft upon approval, no, then manual is going to get drafted on the 17th of March. And I can push that draft all the way out till April the 2nd. I can do April the 1st. In this case scenario, when you're looking at this, because here's the thing, some people go, well, I don't have money in my account now, Keelan. I don't have it in here. Well, you can post date it all the way 30 days out where you go, perfect. Let's get the policy in, let's get it approved, and then we won't draft until that 1st, okay? But if you can, it's always better to just go yes and draft immediately, and get it over with, and get it into place. That is if they have money in there. I don't want you to try to draw out of an account that doesn't have money, then you've got other problems, okay? If they're not replacing anything right here, okay, then basically, because this basically doesn't say, it reads a little funny because it says, do you have any life insurance policy? But basically what it's trying to say is that, are you replacing any policy? Okay, that's yes or no. And all you have to do right here is the proposed insured a family member or not? If I'm writing a policy on my kids, or a spouse, if I had one, then this would be yes. If not, I put no here. And that's basically, you can write policies on your own family and get paid full commissions on them. No matter of fact, I suggest everybody that's on the line here that is an SNL agent, write your own policy and take advantage of that, because it's going to be just like almost a free policy for the first year. You're going to get commissions on it. And the second thing you can do is that you can actually have an illustration like this to show people, I am an agent for SNL. I'm a policy holder with SNL. And look at what I've got. I've got a policy that in 20 years is going to be worth $6,000. It's going to be paid up policy for $12,000. And I can show you that I not only am an agent, but I'm also a client. I think that's very strong. Okay. But if you don't want to, it's fine, but I strongly suggest it. And look here, this is me, and I'm signing for me. So it's a typed in signature right there. So you don't have to sign anything. You just have to type your name in there. and move forward. And so when I do that, I'm going to go in here and the city that it's signed in, okay? It was signed in Austin or Georgetown. I'm just going to put that right there. And that's going to tell us where it was signed. And I'm going to hit submit. That's going to tell me if I did anything wrong here. That's going to tell me if I did anything wrong, if I missed any boxes or got anything wrong. If I didn't, then I'm good to go. Thank you for submitting your client's application. Now be careful right here. It says based on the information you provided, your client applied for the preferred plan. So what it's saying there is, be real careful. It's saying that I answered all my questions no. And so that's all it's saying. They didn't, this is not a guarantee that it's approved because we have not run this prescriptions yet. This is just saying you answered no all the way down. It gives you another chance right here to change any of the banking information if you want. It also gives you a chance if the premium, you're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's $43.40. That's what we talked about. That's the premium. And anything else there. Okay. If you have some dual purpose medications, like for example, if I have gabapentin, if one of my drugs is gabapentin, and that's really basically typically to treat diabetic neuropathy. But if I'm not a diabetic and I just have gabapentin for nerve pain, I may put this down, okay, right there. And then you can also only up it, you know, right here up to $30,000. I could do that, calculate the premium, and it would give me a different premium, $80.84. So I can change that before I hit the final button. When I hit this final accept button right here, okay, when I hit the final accept button, it's going to take me to another screen. I'm not going to hit it now because it will mess up the underwriters. It's going to take me to another screen, okay? And so what I would do at that point in time, it would say call the company, okay? It would say call the company with your client on the line. So practice, if you're going to do stuff over the phone, practice three-way calling. I think most everybody can, but practice with your friends or your family and do three-way call. And then I'll just get on the line and I just call, and I'm going to do it right now live just to show y'all what it sounds like. Hopefully everything goes through good. I'm going to call the agent's helpline, which is that number. So write that number down, and I'll be calling this. And
welcome to Security National Life Agent Services. This call may be recorded or monitored for quality assurance. Please listen carefully as your menu options have recently changed. For new business, please press 1.
So I'm going to press 1. Listen to this.
Please wait while I transfer your call. Thank you for calling Insurance Company's New Business Department. This call may be recorded or monitored for quality assurance. For telesales authorization, please press 1.
I'm going to do 1.
Thank you for calling Life Insurance Company. We are currently experiencing a high call volume. Please hold on, your call will be answered in the order it was received. If you know your party's extension.
So you may have this situation come up where it is busy and they have other people we're taking care of right now. So I would just, you know, highly suggest that you maybe talk to your client a little bit and say, hey, we're going to get this done. And they're busy now. So bear with me for 2 seconds. And I'm taking a shot here because I hope they're not too busy. Maybe look bad to me if they are. But this is going to be real life stuff, you know. It's going to be real life applications. So you got to take it for what it is. And if your client doesn't want to do it and doesn't want to be patient and talk to you for the phone interview, you can call them back at another time. You can hang up and say, hey, I'm going to call them back at another time. Okay, so that's totally understandable because sometimes they are busy. And if you want Spanish, you can do Spanish also. So you just need to get them on the line and say, hey, I need a Spanish.
Security National Life New Business Department. We are currently experiencing a high call volume. Your call is very important to us. So please leave a message with your name and phone number, and we will return
Yes, this is Keelan Johnson. I'm doing a phone verification for Emmanuel Solis, and we are trying to get a hold of the phone verification. So if you could please give me a call back as soon as possible, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So you do. So, hey, listen, that's okay. It's live. I got caught on that and it is busy right now. So this is a good example. So what I would do is I would say, hey, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, stay on your line. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call the phone verification system back. And you can do this. Call them back and get the phone verification on the line and go, hey, I need to do a phone verification for manual and then three-way manual back in. So the client doesn't have to wait. Okay. We are a busy company and sometimes you'll get them on the first ring. Sometimes you won't, but just be aware that you can work with your client in this situation to where you call this number first, get the phone verification people on the line and they go, hey, I'm going to three-way in manual. Just tell manual to hang close to his phone. All right. So the phone verification goes on and then you are in good shape to move forward. All right. One thing I want to do here real quick is I want to talk about, let's see if I can get a pad again. One thing I want to talk about is the difference in verification and the difference in phone authorization. So there's two different words here. I can't type right here, so I'm just going to ask y'all to type. Phone verification with a V. So write that down. Phone verification with a V. Okay. On a phone verification with a V, the company, when you call into the company, okay, when you call into the company right here, they are going to run a prescription check and they are going to give you an instant decision right then there on the phone with regards to what they see on the medication list and what you wrote down. So just know the word verification means they're going to verify the information and you get an instant decision. So if you have a client that is very clean, there's not a lot of medications on the list, there's not a lot of anything there, I would suggest doing a phone verification with a V, okay, with a V. If you have a client that may have multiple medications and there might be a dual purpose medication, which I'm not going to go through today, somewhat like a blood thinner or a gabapentin or anything there. And if you're a little bit questionable about what all they're taking, maybe because they're taking so many, you may want to do a phone authorization with an A, okay? Phone authorization with an A. So write that down, phone authorization. And what's going to happen there is when you call in and say, hey, this is Keelan, I'm the agent. I want to do just a phone authorization on Emmanuel Solis today. Then all they're going to do is verify Emmanuel's information that's in this application. They're going to verify that. And they're not, I say not, they're not going to run a prescription check. So they're not going to run a prescription check. What that gives you the opportunity to do is it will go right from the system into the underwriter's hands, and then the underwriter gets to make the decision. Now, why would that be better? If you have a clean client, you want to know that it's issued right then and there, do the verification. If you have one that has a lot, maybe some prescriptions, you're a little shaky whether they'll go preferred or standard or modified, do the phone authorization. I would almost always, if I could tell you something, I would almost always encourage you as an agent to do phone authorization only. And here's the reason. If you get a client that you think is going to be a preferred or standard and you tell them, I think you'll be preferred or standard, let's try to get you approved. And then they find a drug or a medicine that kicks them over to modified, and they find something that's going to kick them over to modified. Instead of that decision being made right on the phone, right then and there, it's going to go to the underwriter. And then guess what you're going to have the opportunity to do? At that point in time, you have the opportunity to call the client back and go, hey, Manuel, it looks like you're taking some blood thinners. I didn't know you were taking these. And you go, oh, yeah, I found those. I forgot I was taking those too. And then you have the opportunity to go, well, that's okay. Listen, they found them. And it's still good news. You can still get a policy. And so it's going to be a little bit more premium. Or what we can do is if you want to keep your premium the same, because I know it's important to you to fit the budget, then what we can do is lower the face amount just a little bit. Let me give you a quote. It just gives you the opportunity to at least save the client, at least call them back and go, hey, how about let's do this? They found this drug and let's do this. So I like the phone authorization. Just tell them that, better than I do phone verification, unless it's a clean client and you just want to go ahead and get it out of the system and get it over to the underwriters. Okay. So I hope that's kind of like drinking out of a fire hose, but let's just summarize this and then I'll let you go. So 2 ways to sell: in person with the paper, send it to the company right here. Second way to sell, over the phone right here, over the phone. And if you want to also, I have a YouTube training channels right here that will show you. There's a lot of videos on there. So jump in there if you want some more learning on it. But over the phone, we fill out the web application, get all the information, call the company. Hopefully they'll answer the first time. But even if you're after hours, you see those are Central Time hours, it's okay to tell the client, hey, listen, Mr. Jones, listen, Manuel, I want to make sure that I get them on the phone and I don't waste too much of your time. How about tomorrow at 2:00? I call the company. You just be by your phone. Be ready to answer the phone about 2:00 tomorrow. Will that work? You can always set that up. Okay. So there's always an easy way to set that up if you want to. If you need more help on that, let me know. But we have to call in. Again, with paper, there is no phone authorization or verification. Over the phone, we do a phone authorization or verification over the phone. Okay. So 2 ways to write the policy. 2 ways to write the policy. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, y'all. I'm telling you, because now the client is in charge of how they want to do business, and that makes them feel good. The client is in charge of how they want to do business, and that's good. So we can make phone calls, we can talk to them, we can go to their house, either way, however they want to do business. So I'm gonna wrap up with this, and I'll let y'all go. I'm gonna be right nearly on 55 minutes. So I say in every one of my sessions and every one of my trainings, and I'm not gonna quit saying it because it's very important to me. Everybody's gonna pass away. Everybody you know is gonna pass away. Everybody that's in your phone is gonna pass away. Everybody in your family is gonna pass away. We all know that. It's just we got to get that out of the box. Are you going to be, when they pass away, are you going to be sitting on the front pew happy because you protected that family? Are you going to be sitting on the front pew of that church, that funeral home, happy because you knew you took care of that family and you had the courage enough to go ask them, are they taken care of? Or are you going to be on the back pew because you didn't write a policy, because you didn't have the courage to ask them, or you forgot to, okay? Or you just never got around to it. So think about that, because you are the professional. You've got the license. You've got the appointment. You went through all of this. You're a special person to the people around you. You can do this. You can write these policies. So we're excited about this year. We've got some strong independent agents out there. We've got some strong agency managers out there. And then we also have our career program that we're developing now. So our career program, and maybe a couple of y'all on the line here, career program is off the ground and running. It's a great program for agents that want to run 20, 25 leads a week. They want to make $12,000, $14,000 a month. And we have the program for it. If y'all haven't checked it out, also check out over here on the left, your new lead hub. We're so excited. We have every one of you have your own lead hub. And when you order leads, it's going to go all into here. It's a simple way to look at leads, view your leads, open your leads up right here, print your leads. And it's a very, very good way. Just like here, you can download your attachments, open it up, print it, go door knock their house and go see them. Okay, so if you're interested in jumping into the career program, we can have a one-off talk and see if you're ready for the challenge. But we're doing a great job at doing lead financing now for those agents, for the agents that want to take another step. So I thank you for jumping on this morning. Go find a couple of people to protect. Go find some families to talk to. If you need my help, I'm right here. I'm right here. And so I care for every single one of y'all. And, you might make some mistakes out there, but it's only going to take a mistake or two to get better. So let's go protect people. Let's make 2022 good. Let's make some money for our family and protect some families. Okay. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate y'all jumping on today. Have a great Thursday. great warm rest of the week. And as I always say in Texas, adios.
Oh,
I want to answer a couple of questions real quick, just for those of y'all that put them in there. If you have a license to sell in other states, can you SNL in other states? Yes. What about the COVID form? The COVID form, Leo, will be asked by the company. Okay, so that will be asked by the company, so you don't have to have that. If you do a paper application, it will be attached to the paper application. When you call in, yes, they ask about the COVID. Basically, they're just asking, have you had COVID in the last 30 days? Yep. So that's it. All right. So thank y'all again for being on. If you need anything, I'm right here. Talk to you later.